This video will go over two proofs for two theorems, and these are on page 120 at the very end of chapter 2 in your book. The first is proving the vertical angles theorem, and here's the sketch that we have to work with. This construction has indeed two intersecting lines, and we have 1 plus 2 are a linear pair, which means they're supplementary. So those are adding to 180. 2 plus 3 also are a linear pair. We could also say 3 and 4 are a linear pair and 1 and 4, but in order to prove that 1 is congruent to 3, that's what our goal is here. So let's hide that. In order to prove that, we do need to use angle 2. So here's our given. Angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical. Now, angle 1 and angle 3, formed by intersecting lines, is the definition of vertical angles. And we need to state that they're formed by lines so that we can use what we know about linear pairs. So our next step is that 1 and 2 are a linear pair. That's our definition of linear pair. That's why stating previously that 1 and 3 are formed by intersecting lines was important. And now we'll also say that 2 and 3 are a linear pair for the same reason, definition of linear pair. And a previously proven theorem that we have is the linear pair theorem that says that linear pair is always supplementary, which I have shown here. No matter how I change angle 1 and angle 2, right now 2 is acute and 1 is obtuse, and now 1 is acute, 2 is obtuse, and somewhere in between there they're both 90, but their sum is always 180 because they share this line and they're adjacent. This last reason to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3 is our congruent supplements theorem. If you've forgotten about that one, there's another video you should check out, because this theorem right here we will use quite a bit this year. And so here's our finished proof showing that angle 1 is indeed congruent to angle 3, and I can now show these angle measurements to help us get an extra piece of visual evidence. 1 and 3 are always congruent. We could have also done the same proof to prove that 2 and 4 are always congruent because they are also vertical. Alright, for this proof I'm using a little shade here. I'll be uncovering the steps as I go. Our goal is to prove if two angles are congruent and supplementary, then they are right angles. Here's our picture. We have 1 plus 2 equals 180, and I did use a reflection to construct these so they are congruent. Our last step will be to show that they are both 90, so let's get started. 1 and 2 are supplementary, 1 is congruent to 2, that's given. Measure of 1 equals measure of 2, that's our definition of congruent angles. Measure of 1 plus measure of 2 is 180. Definition of supplementary angles. Since the measure of 1 equals the measure of 2, I can substitute and have the measure of 1 plus itself equals 180. Now we have an algebra simplification. 2 times the measure of 1 is 180. Can you guess the next step? Divide both sides by 2. Now we've established that the measure of 1 is 90. By either substitution or transitive property, we can say the measure of 2 is 90. And now we've concluded our proof. Angle 1 and angle 2 are right angles. Thanks for watching, and keep practicing.